have you agreed to AI being trained on your content, your face, or your voice? Have you given permission or consent to being cloned, imitated, or to your work, whether it's music, filmmaking, graphic design, to be imitated by an AI algorithm? And you may be saying, absolutely not. I would have remembered doing that because it is a pretty striking type of permission or consent to give, right? Being imitated, cloned, or have a machine clone your own work, whether it's your music, your filmmaking practice, or your graphic design. And you feel like you would have remembered doing that. However, in practice, you may have been giving out what I call backdoor consent to AI training on your content, even your face or your voice, without realizing. You may also have extended the right for that AI model or the person or company controlling the AI model to generate imitations of your work, imitations of your performances, your voice and your face without realizing. And this is because it is a very standard and common industry practice than for clients, production companies, or any type of hirers and engagers to ask their freelancers, creative professionals, contractors that they work with for what we call a full buyout of their rights, also known in the law as an assignment of the rights. And when you do that, very often you lose control over what happens to the content, how it is used, how often it is used, and for what purpose, through which technology, and so forth. It is very much like selling your content, like you would sell your house or sell your car, a tangible item for everyday use or for living in. And for that reason, the effect of buyouts, or in the law what we call assignments, and the two words mean practically the same thing. Buyout is an industry term that applies to a range of sectors within the creative industries, and assignment is the legal terminology for it. When we're looking at a buyout or an assignment, what we're looking at is a very broad yes and permission giving to everything that comes after, because it's like selling your house, and the buyer, the new person living in the house, is obviously free to do whatever they want with the house, with every room. They can repaint it, they can tear it down, they can rebuild it. That's their prerogative. And buyouts will often be interpreted to mean the same in relation to your content, to your face, to your voice, to your performance, to whatever it is that you've produced, commissioned, or worked with in a context of your collaboration with a client. And that will also apply to the terms and conditions that you have agreed to when you're using services like online platforms to share your work. So I would invite you to go back to your contracts, whether it is with clients you worked with in the past, or clients you're about to work with, or service providers that you use on a routinely basis, and look up the terms and conditions and look for the word intellectual property or intellectual property rights, and see what that particular term or clause in your contract say. If it includes words like transferring, assigning, giving an irrevocable permission to the use of the content worldwide in perpetuity, or for very, very broad scope of application, the chances are very high you're looking at a buyout. Sometimes even what we call licenses, which are not assignments, they're just permission giving. They're not like selling the rights away or selling the content away. They're just a permission you give to someone else. Even terms that are called licenses can sometimes be broad enough to have given consent, or to be interpreted as you having given consent to your work being used on AI or being imitated by AI. The reason for that is because when those contracts were written, or those terms have come into practice in your industry, AI was not part of the equation. So now is really important that you go and update your own terms of business, your own terms of doing business, doing creative work with your clients and with collaborators, so that you're protected and you do not end up giving consent where you don't mean to give consent. And we close that back door, and everything that comes your way comes through the front door. You're informed, your collaborators are informed, and you're doing fair and equitable business as well as good art with them. Chances are very high that your collaborators and your clients will be okay with that, because typically businesses And that includes hires, engagers, regardless of the nature, the structure of the organization, or whether that's an individual person. They want to be in alignment with you on what they intend to do or the intention of the use for your materials. So it's really important for you to look up the contract, bring up those conversations, and if indeed your client wants to buy out and you're not able to negotiate a license instead of an assignment of the rights, which I would always recommend, by the way, then ask to have an AI clause inserted into your contract that makes it clear whether it's okay for your client to use your content to train AI models on, or to generate more work using your work as the source or input data. It is entirely up to you whether you're okay with that or not. It is a personal preference, a business decision, an artistic decision, than to say yes and embrace the AI revolution, or to say no, actually I need to slow down and see where this is going. I will never push you one way or another. It is your decision. Make it an informed one. Listen up to podcasts and resources like this one to make sure you understand as much and as many of the implications that comes with the technology, as well as all of the decisions around it, whether they're creative, commercial, legal, like agreeing to a contract. The last thing I wanted to do is for you to feel caught out by a contract or a consent you've given without meaning to. All right, so this is it on backdoor consent to AI. I hope this was helpful. Leave comments, ask questions. I always do my best to get back to you and to answer them as quickly as possible. The best way to keep up and to follow with the work I do, and if you want more of the resources on the law, contracts, your creative practice, your business model as a freelancer and content creator, is to follow me on social media and sign up to my newsletter. You can do that by going to my website, mathildepavers.com, and sign up to the newsletter and mailing list there. I am a lawyer in your corner. I'm on a mission to make sure that artists, creative professionals, tech developers know their rights, use their rights, and monetize their rights where it makes sense for them to do so. Because I believe this is the best way for people to work together fairly and equitably.